So hi there. I'm Kristina Semos from Ivy Lounge Test Prep, and today we are going to discuss if you are a U.S. student applying to non-U.S. universities, and if so, what are the standardized testing requirements for those? So this is probably going to be like a multi-part series. I mean, it definitely is because this video does not contain all of the ones I want to tell you about. But today, what I will talk to you about are like the top slash most popular. I'm not like ranking them, but like eight of the popular Canadian universities where you might apply and what, if any, are their standardized testing requirements. Okay, so the first university that I'm going to talk about, this is the University of Toronto. And this is the US admissions page. And again, all of these are going to look a little different than when you're looking at other US universities. But they tend to have like minimum requirements as opposed to, most people get within this range. But here you will see, let's see. Yes, students who have written SAT or ACT tests and wish to have these considered in their assessment may submit their scores. Please note that applicants to engineering are required to fully disclose any and all test scores. Okay, and so to me, what this is saying is that they are test optional, but they are happy to look at your SAT and ACT scores if you would like to submit them. It seems what they are saying here is that if you're applying to an engineering program, then they want to see whatever test scores you have. They want to see all of them. In other words, they're not doing score choice. So here is the data for the middle 50% of the students that the university admitted from US high schools. Right here, it says that half, 50% of the admitted students did submit a test score, an SAT or an ACT test score. The SAT range in the middle was this. It was 1450 to 1550, meaning that a fourth of the students actually scored below the 1450, and a fourth, or 25% of the students, actually scored above 1550, okay? For the ACT, that same range was a 32 to a 35. So that's the middle half. That means 25% or a fourth scored below a 32. And that means 25% or a fourth scored above a 35, i.e. a perfect 36. Okay, so that is University of Toronto. So now let's talk about the second of my handy list of 8 Canadian universities where you might want to apply if you're thinking of, venturing outside the United States for college, and that is McGill University. So this is their page for application requirements if you are coming from the US. And this is what's interesting. So it says here that you must have taken either the ACT or the ACT or the SAT unless applying to music. So they say that it is required. However, then it has this little bit, which is test optional. The ACT SAT opt-out policy has been extended to students applying to undergraduate studies for fall 2025 for the following programs. And then they list quite a lot of things: agricultural and environmental sciences, arts, Bachelor of Arts and Sciences, which is most of the things you think about. That's like philosophy, history, biology. Most of that is in this area. Education, engineering, including architecture, management, nursing, science. And then it says for instructions on how to exclude the ACT, SAT requirement from your admissions review, refer to the standardized testing section. Okay, so here's basically what this means. So if you are applying fall of 2025, that means that like as of the day I'm recording this, you are a senior. Then you don't have to submit a test score. However, I have no idea what they are going to do if they're going to keep extending it for people applying to fall of 2026, i.e. people who are currently juniors, i.e. high school class of 2026. Okay, so we don't know. If they don't keep extending it, then it seems like you might have to do one of the tests, but they might decide a year from now that you don't. Okay, so here's that standardized testing section that it was talking about. So it did say, so here it says McGill requires those applying on the basis of a U.S. high school diploma to provide ACT or SAT results by the published deadline. And then this opting out business, right? So that's what we just read, right? So again, if you're currently a high school senior, your class of 2025, and you're trying to go to McGill for fall of 2025, you can opt out of the score, i.e. make it test optional for you, pretty much in most things you might want to study. And yeah, you're not gonna be disadvantaged by not doing that. That's, what test optional means. If you wish to exclude the requirement, then you need to indicate it. If you choose not to exclude the scores, well, then you need to provide it by the deadline. Otherwise, it will be considered incomplete, like your application will be incomplete. So now, say you are submitting scores. And remember, if you're a junior or a sophomore in high school right now, assume you're probably going to be having to take it because they didn't say that they're extending this for you yet. They might, but they haven't done it yet. So this is what we're looking at for the ACT. Right, they want a composite score in the 4 sections, so that includes science. So assuming you might be one of the new format ACT people, you would probably opt to do the science if today's website is still what they intend, right? And it says that test score requirements for admission are set annually for the ACT composite and the section sub scores, and that they vary by program, and we cannot precisely predict minimum scores in advance. Okay, I get it. What's competitive this year might not be what's competitive for me if I'm a junior next year when I apply. But this is a good guideline still, so you can create your target score. So this would be, a competitive score would be equal or greater than a composite of 26 and individual subject scores of 24. So basically we want to do at least 24s, if not better, in all the subjects on the ACT. And we want our composite to be a 26 or better. Caveat, it might be higher, it might be less when you're applying later on down the line. We can't guarantee, but you have an idea. So now if you're an SAT person, then let's see where it says it. Okay, cool. Test score requirements for admissions are set annually. Same disclaimer here. So they have what they're considering to be competitive now, but they can change it next year. It might be slightly higher. It might be lower. Who knows what it'll be, but this is what it is for this year. And also you have to check because it varies by the program to which you're applying. So right now, right, so beginning of 2025, the competitive scores are equal to or greater than, so the reading writing would be a 670, so 670 or better. And math would be a 580, but if you're an engineering or architecture person, we'd want to see a 620. So what that looks like is if you are an engineering or architecture student, we'd be looking at like a 1290 plus, but broken down to at least 620 for math, at least 670 for reading, writing. And if you are a non-engineer architect applicant, then we'd be looking at a 1250 at least, 670 plus in the reading, writing, and a 580 plus in the math. And obviously, yes, it's your responsibility to get your official results sent directly to them from the College Board. So if you're a McGill person, the sum of all of that is if you're currently a senior and you can still apply, then you can opt out of the tests. If you are currently a junior or below, so class of 2026 and beyond, assume you're going to have to take it, but be pleasantly surprised if many months from now you find out that they have extended the test optional policy for you. Okay? So now let's talk about the third of our list of awesome Canadian universities to which you might apply if, in fact, you are a U.S. student who wants to just, travel abroad and do your college outside of the States. So the third one on our list is the University of British Columbia, or UBC. Yes, so this is for you, right? You're an American high schooler, so American secondary school student, and check it out. The submission of standardized test scores, SAT and ACT, is optional. Applicants who have an SAT or ACT test score and would like them to be considered as part of the UBC admissions process are welcome to submit their test score. Applicants will not be at a disadvantage if they cannot or choose not to submit a test score. Awesome. So for you, this one is test optional. If you do have a good score, then obviously I would encourage you to submit it because it would only act as an extra piece of evidence that you, in fact, are college ready and will do well at their institution. Now let's go to University of Alberta. Okay, so if this is a school to which you would like to apply and you're coming from the United States, I got good news for you. So check it out. If you want to go to the University of Alberta and you are a US high school student, look, it's test optional for you. So here's what it says. For undergraduate applicants studying a US patterned curriculum at an accredited institution, in other words, you actually go to a high school. I have a feeling this means you're not homeschooled, okay? The SAT or ACT scores are not required. So students who attend unaccredited schools must continue to present standardized test scores like AP exam scores in order to be evaluated for admissions consideration. If you are unsure about your SAT or ACT score requirement, please contact, and it gives you a nice little email address of someone named Maria Millen at ualberta.ca. Okay, so what this seems to mean is that if you attend like an actual high school, public, private, charter, it's accredited, you don't have to submit a test score. If you do not attend one of those, that probably means you're, I guess, homeschooled and it's not accredited, then you would need to submit some type of score. It seems that maybe you could submit a series of AP scores or SAT or ACT scores. So in that case, if you don't go to an accredited high school, then you would contact this nice little person, maria.millen at ualberta.ca, and that person would tell you what exactly you need to do, what tests you need to take and submit to the University of Alberta. So hi there. If we are just meeting for the first time, my name is Kristina Semos. I'm the owner and founder of Ivy Lounge Test Prep, and for the past 15 years, I have helped high schoolers all over the globe get into the colleges of their dreams by helping them dramatically raise their SAT and ACT test scores and write very compelling college application essays that gets them noticed and gets them accepted. So I have a question for you right now, and that is, are you thinking at all of including a few non-US colleges or universities on your college list? If you are, then tell me. I'm going to be doing a series of videos like this where I go through some of the ones people are asking about and I research and find those standardized testing requirements to help you in this process. And while you're at it, just go ahead and like this video and also subscribe to my channel. And then that way, when I post more videos about updates to the SAT, the ACT, college application essays, testing requirements, you're going to be the first to know. So now let's go on to the fifth of the 8 Canadian universities I am going to talk about today. If you are an American high schooler wishing to apply and attend college in Canada. And the fifth one is University of Waterloo. Okay, so this is a really cool page that they have on their website. And it basically is over here, admission requirements. And you actually go through and you say, okay, I'm a high school student and I attend high school and you would pick outside of Canada if you are, in fact, a US high schooler. And yes, country system of study, it's the American US system. And I am interested in, and you do need to put something in the drop-down menu. But let's just say you are interested in software engineering. Why not? Let's view the requirements. Okay, and it'll tell you exactly what the requirements are. And if you look here, so it's going to tell you certain AP requirements. It's going to tell you certain actual courses you needed to have taken in high school. But this is what we're talking about. We're talking about the standardized testing requirements. And it says for this one, right, software engineering, the SAT and ACT test scores are not required for admissions. And to support your application, we encourage you to submit APs, test scores if you have them, and they tell you the code. So I kind of went through and picked like a few different of these possible programs, and I tried to pick ones that like usually require the most things, like engineering, here, software engineering. And I mean, I did not go through all of them. You saw that list, but the ones that usually are like the most like competitive and stringent, those tended to all say that for a US student, the scores were not required. So to me, again, go through it yourself if this is a place you want to apply to. But to me, it seems like this might just be a fully test optional school as far as SAT and ACT scores go for US students. So, and again, test it out yourself. But that is good news for you if you want to apply to the University of Waterloo. So the sixth of our list of 8 is Queen's University in Canada. And for this one, let me share my screen. If we go to the admission applicants FAQ page, and okay, change to SAT and ACT requirements. So they say Queen's has permanently moved to a test optional model, meaning applicants, I'm reading right here, who have studied in the US will no longer be required to submit an SAT or ACT score. You may continue to submit your scores if you feel they will support your application. Awesome. So test optional, but yeah, if it's another piece of evidence that you are ready for Queen's University, then by all means submit it, especially if you have a strong score. So now let's talk about Western University in Canada. Okay, so this is their application requirements page for US students. And so it says over here, okay, right here, a minimum SAT combined evidence-based reading and writing plus math score of 1190 or a minimum ACT composite score of a 24. And it says, yeah, the score reports must be official and come directly from the College Board at ACT, and they give you the codes to do that. But then this is also interesting. Is the SAT ACT mandatory for fall 2025 admission? So again, this applies if you are currently a senior, so US high school graduating class of 2025, and you're applying to go fall of 2025. For you, it would be test optional, right? So it says right here, the SAT and ACT scores are optional for fall 2025 admission. It won't affect your application if you cannot or choose not to submit scores. If you already have or plan to take the SAT, ACT, we still encourage you to submit your scores. So if you are US high school graduating class of 2025 applying, then optional for you. But if you have strong scores, do send them. They encourage you to. If you are currently a junior or below, so high school graduating class of 2026 and beyond, this doesn't, I mean, this isn't for you. So I would probably be going with what they're saying here, which is that they require a score and there's a minimum of 1190 for the SAT and a minimum of a 24 for the ACT. Who knows? Again, right? They might change it up a year from now and say, oh yeah, we're extending. And for the class of 2026, for people entering our school fall of 2026, sure, it'll be test optional too. But as of now, they have not said that. They have only said that for people entering fall of 2025. So if you're a junior or below, assume that you probably will have to take the test and you want these minimum scores right here. And finally, the 8th school we are going to talk about right now is McMaster University. So this is the McMaster University webpage. And again, this is one of those where you search by like where you're coming from. So attending a school. Yes, you are not currently attending a second. No, you are in high school. So you are attending a school. So filter by my country region. Sure, let's do it by that. Country, cool. United States of America, submit. Interesting. Okay. So it wants you to go by my curriculum, do program, and then check American style. So this is what we're going to do. So we're going to filter by my curriculum. We're going to select program, and we are going to do American style. Okay, maybe this one. Oh, here. That's what they mean, American style curriculum. So we click yes to this one. If you're international baccalaureate, you could do that one. Oh, I must select one. Okay, I'm going to pick, fine, arts and science. So we're going to study arts and science. And we are currently in an American style curriculum, i.e., an American high school. Okay, so if we're doing Bachelor of Arts over here, let's see what it says. There's an English proficiency test. Okay, here we go. So applicants are not required to take either SAT or ACT, but may submit it if it strengthens their application. Here's the code to send your SAT scores. Here's the code to send your ACT scores. Okay, nice. And they don't give us really any minimums. They don't really tell us what like a competitive range would be. I'm just going to pick something maybe like engineering, because usually that's a little bit more rigorous as far as requirements go. And let's see, we're keeping American style curriculum, and we're going to submit, and let's see what they say here. Again, applicants are not required to take either SAT or ACT, but may submit it if it strengthens their application. Got it. If I were you and applying to McMaster University, I would go to that page. I would actually put in like what area you want to study and do the thing where it says American style curriculum, yes, and just confirm. But I picked, a couple basic ones, like engineering's pretty stringent. Arts and science is probably the most common if you're going for undergraduate. And both of those seem to say it was test optional, but that it would be considered if it would benefit the student and make their application stronger. So those, my friends, are 8 Canadian universities and their standardized testing requirements if you are a high schooler in the US wanting to apply. The too long didn't read is basically that all of them appear to be test optional, at least for people who are in the graduating class of 2025. If you are in the graduating class of 2026 or beyond, then check out McGill, because it seems they still require a test score. Who knows? Always subject to change months or a year from now. And it also appears that Western University might still require one for you, again, subject to change. So I hope this was helpful as I do more research about other parts of the globe where you might want to apply to school. I will continue to make videos. And if you like this, again, please subscribe and like. And if you also just need kind of help figuring out this whole college process thing, I actually do have a free webinar that you can register for, and it's called your Fail-Proof College Prep Plan. And it kind of walks you through this whole test prep, how do you apply to colleges process, and it's like only an hour long. So check it out in the link below.